In May 2025, Newcastle Airport welcomed a brand new airline. Low-cost airline Norwegian started flights between Newcastle and Copenhagen. Myself and a few others booked a seat on the inaugural flight. I booked it also hoping to get some free cake. Did I get free cake? Well, find out within this trip report. To start off, a quick train ride on one of Newcastle's old metro trains. Newcastle Airport at this time of day is absolutely packed. The Daily Emirates flight is in and the second wave of holiday flights come in and depart. It was pretty clear that the airport was making a big deal of this inaugural flight. At the check-in there was balloons and there was also a press photographer taking snaps of all the passengers. After checking in, we were given a card to say the gate was opening an hour earlier for celebrations, a duty-free voucher and a guide to Copenhagen. Norwegian's new flight between Newcastle and Copenhagen operates twice a week. The Monday flight arrives early morning, whilst the Friday flight arrives and departs in the mid-afternoon. Norwegian will use a mix of 737-800s and 737 MAX 8s. The Newcastle-Copenhagen flights aren't actually new. SAS Scandinavian Airlines used to operate them for multiple years using Bombardier CRJ-900s. Norwegian's had, an interesting kind of few years. The company nearly went completely bankrupt. Long story short, they're basically back to business as usual after the 737 MAX worldwide groundings, the 787 Trent 1000 engine issues and the COVID-19 pandemic. After watching the first Norwegian 737 landing, it was time to head to the gate. At the gate, it was pretty clear Newcastle was pulling out all the stops to mark the occasion. There was red carpets, balloons, the gate was completely decorated with Norwegian branding. The atmosphere as well at the gate was very upbeat, excited and pretty celebrationary. I'm assuming there was a few passengers that probably didn't realise they were on the inaugural flight. For all passengers, there was a choice of either champagne and orange juice. I went for the champagne. And, best of all, there was a massive cinnamon bun. So yes, I got my free cake. And I would rate the cinnamon bun 10 out of 10. It was huge. Footage courtesy of Jonathan Winton, who roped me into this flight by saying, "Oh yeah, there's gonna be free cake." The aircraft operating the flight was a 9.5-year-old 737-800, registered SE-RPU, operated by Norwegian's Swedish subsidiary. I was on this flight with a few friends, my good friend Jonathan Winton, Fergus and Jack. Make sure to check out their channels as well. And Jack, if you are watching this, hi Jack. The inaugural flight was on the 2nd of May 2025. And surprisingly, it was 25 degrees Celsius, the hottest day of the year at the time. My seat for the flight was seat 8F. Norwegian's 737s also feature Boeing's Sky Interior, which I'll get more into later in the video. The commentary will resume after the takeoff.
Flygplan har 8 nödutgångar, 2 längst bak, 4 vid vingarna.
The legroom was decent, more than enough for the hour and 25-minute flight. The seat pocket contained a safety card, a card about Norwegian's loyalty programme, a card with Norwegian's deals, such as their duty free and special offers, a card with the Wi-Fi information and how to connect, a sick bag, and an onboard menu. Like all low-cost airlines or budget airlines, Norwegian has a buy on board menu. At a glance, it seemed to have a fairly decent selection. All of Norwegian's fleet have Wi-Fi. You can connect either via the Wi-Fi part on your phone or, like I did, through the QR code on the card. As standard, all passengers get 15 minutes of free Wi-Fi. Then there's two options, either €3.99 for a 30-minute session or €5.99 for the entire flight. For the flight, I decided to pay the $5.99 and had Wi-Fi the entire time. Even though I got my free cake with the cinnamon bun, I decided to get some food on board. I got a Pepsi Max and a panini. The panini contained ham, cheese, pesto and mozzarella. Admittedly, it doesn't look like much, but it is genuinely one of the best paninis I've had on a plane. It cost me €12.80, which is not bad and works out at roughly £10. But all of Norwegian's 737s, including this one, are fitted with Boeing's Sky interior. It offers bigger overhead bins, mood lighting and larger air vents. It's a very 787 style of cabin. Norwegian's 737s are also all equipped with Recaro seats. And just like that, the flat landscape of Denmark was visible. The flight flew in, no pun intended. This is actually my first ever inaugural flight. I filmed loads over the years, such as WestJet's first flight into Glasgow, Delta and Air Baltic at Edinburgh, to name a few, but this was my first time actually being on one. The flight cost was around €50, which in pounds was £42.60. Breaking this down, the flight cost £29.60 and the seat selection cost me £13. It was a very reasonable and decent price, especially for an inaugural flight. Throughout the flight, I found the Wi-Fi speeds to be pretty decent. I also found the €5.99 option to be the no-brainer. The video commentary will resume after the landing into Copenhagen, and it was certainly quite an interesting landing. A bit of a hard landing into Copenhagen. Overall, Norwegian's inaugural flight from Newcastle was really good. The highlight though just had to be getting that free cake. It was, admittedly, the whole reason I booked this trip. Not gonna lie, I'd have been a little disappointed if I didn't get my free cake. It was also great to experience my first inaugural flight and fly with Norwegian for the first ever time. I guess being roped into yet another trip by Jonathan Winton was worth it. I also think Norwegian's onboard Wi-Fi sets them apart from other low-cost airlines in Europe. It was also good to fly from Newcastle for the first time and to also be a part of something historic and celebrationary Since the inaugural flight, Norwegian has extended the route to year-round due to the demand. I definitely would fly with Norwegian again in the future. This won't be my last inaugural flight. There's a few that have got my interest for next year. I won't say too much, but there's one in particular from Glasgow that has really caught my attention. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are already subscribed, why not consider becoming a channel member? A membership to my channel gives you behind the scenes look and some exclusive content. Thanks for watching this trip report. I hope you have enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one.